It's very important as you think supply chain that you're thinking way beyond hardware. Software has a supply chain, and you need to know who wrote the code and who touched the code after it was written. And in supply chain risk parlance, that's called provenance, establishing trust in when that code was originally developed, and then having a process that can detect any tampering all the way into employment of that code. So as we get further into this, we're going to talk a lot about DevOps. It's very important as you think that convergence of development and operations, that you put security in the middle of that, that you think DevSecOps, and start from the very beginning with security for your code and maintain that provenance. This is even more important in 5G, as 5G will introduce an increased level of software components that used to be hardware. 5G employs software-defined networking in a big way. It will improve the efficiency, the cost effectiveness of networks, our ability to regularly upgrade and add new functionality to networks. But it's also a new attack vector. And 5G network deployments need to be aware of that attack vector and implement in a way that applies the appropriate controls to secure the control plane. Users of 5G networks will also be employing them to move functions that used to be mechanical or have a hardware component to them into something we call NFV, network functional virtualization. And increasingly, we're figuring out how to do things through code that used to require a bespoke hardware appliance. So you don't have to be the 5G operator to have that same kind of approach towards who wrote my code and who has the sustainment responsibility to ensure that that code is not tampered with. The last area of lesson learned, if you will, or what's ahead of us that I would bring up on SolarWinds, Bob described, the adversary's goals is not necessarily being one that is a takedown of the network, going after availability. It's not one that's clear that there's that theft was necessarily their object. I would suggest that one of their key priorities is just to be in and stay in, is to achieve persistence in our communication networks and networks for corporations and government entities at the national, state, and local levels for future benefit to the attacker. There's so much that can be done when you get that access, when an adversary gets an access within the network where they are perceived as legitimate users of the network.